All right, so we're diving into DAOs today.
DAOs.
Yeah, DAOs. Decentralized Autonomous Organizations.
Oh, right.
For anyone who hasn't heard of them,
Okay.
they're organizations run by rules that are like baked into smart contracts on a blockchain. It's like, imagine if a company wasn't run by like some CEO in a corner office,
Right.
but instead by like code
Yeah.
that everybody could see and interact with.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is, what's really cool is we're going to be looking at a specific example that actually uses Brazil's own CBDC.
Really?
Yeah, DREX.
Oh, wow.
They're using it for everything.
For everything.
For like managing their finances, executing decisions. And get this.
What?
They're using AI agents to do things like bank reconciliation.
Whoa, hold on. AI doing accounting now.
Yeah. Pretty wild, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
But let's back up for a second and really break down these DAO fundamentals.
Right.
So first off, decentralized governance. So instead of having like a small group of people at the top making all the decisions,
Right.
every member who holds what are called governance tokens actually gets a say.
So it's kind of like...
It's kind of like a digital democracy.
Yeah.
Where your vote is directly proportional to how much you've invested in the organization.
Interesting.
Yeah, so no more like boardroom drama or backroom deals. Everything's decided out in the open by like the collective.
I like it.
But what about the actual, you know how things get done.
Yeah.
You mentioned smart contracts before, but I'm still a little fuzzy on how those actually work.
Okay, well, think of a smart contract as like a self-executing agreement.
Okay.
So for instance, let's say the DAO needs to pay an invoice.
Right.
The smart contract is programmed with the payment terms, and it will automatically execute that transaction when the conditions are met.
So like when they receive the product or whatever.
Exactly. Like when they receive proof of delivery.
Gotcha.
No more waiting for someone in accounting to cut a check.
So it's all like automated.
Exactly.
Okay, so the rules are set, the code handles it all.
Yeah.
But doesn't that also raise questions about flexibility?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, what if something unexpected happens?
Right. Well, that's where the brilliance of DAOs kind of comes in.
Okay.
Because they're built on blockchains. Every transaction is recorded on this like immutable ledger that anyone can view.
So anyone can see it.
Yeah. This transparency makes it easier to like track what's happening, and it allows for way more accountability.
So it's like a public record of every decision.
Pretty much.
Okay. But with all this automation, I mean, where do humans actually fit into this whole thing?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
One of the really crucial aspects of DAOs is open participation.
Okay.
So anyone who meets the criteria, which is usually holding governance tokens,
Right.
can actually contribute to the DAO.
In what ways?
Well, they can propose new initiatives.
Okay.
They can vote on decisions. They can even help like develop and maintain the DAO's infrastructure.
So it's not just about like automating all these tasks.
Right.
It's about giving individuals the power to actually participate.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm really curious to see how all of this actually plays out in the real world.
You and me both.
So you mentioned this fictional company, right? Tech Innovators Ltd.
Yeah.
That went all in on this DAO model using DREX.
They did.
What did that transformation actually look like?
Well, they completely overhauled their operations.
Okay.
So their social contract, which is basically like their company rule book,
Right.
was rewritten to integrate all the rules of the DAO and like the governance structure based on smart contracts.
Okay.
So that meant defining things like how voting power was distributed,
Right.
how proposals were submitted and approved, how funds were managed.
So they basically embedded like the DNA of a DAO into their company.
Exactly.
That's pretty radical.
Yeah. And they're using DRX for all their transactions within the DAO.
I mean, how does that actually work on a practical level?
Well, using DRX allows for faster and more secure transactions.
Okay.
Because it's a digital currency issued by Brazil's central bank.
Right.
Those transactions are settled almost instantly.
Gotcha.
Without the need for intermediaries like banks.
Was cutting out the middleman again.
Exactly. Streamlining the whole financial process.
Okay, but there's more to this story, right?
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned these AI agents.
Yes.
Playing a role in all this.
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
So Tech Innovators Ltd. integrated these AI agents to perform tasks that would normally require, like, human intervention.
So, like, what kind of tasks?
We're talking bank reconciliation, budget monitoring, even compliance checks.
Hold on, AI is doing their accounting.
Pretty much.
Tell me more about how that works.
Okay, so these AI agents act as what we call oracles.
Oracles.
Yeah, they kind of bridge the gap between the real world and the blockchain.
Okay.
So let's say the smart contract needs to know if a particular payment has been made. The AI agent can access external systems, confirm the payment, relay that information back to the smart contract, which can then trigger the next action.
So it's like having this super efficient 24/7 accounting department.
Yeah.
That never takes a break.
Exactly. And it's incredibly valuable for any organization.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of efficiency, but also in reducing the potential for human errors.
Right. Because people make mistakes.
Exactly.
So by automating these tasks, they've minimized that risk.
Yes. And they freed up their human employees to focus on more strategic initiatives.
This is already blowing my mind.
It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to dig deeper into how this DAO actually functions on a day-to-day basis.
Let's do it. So let's look at how Tech Innovators Ltd actually uses their DAO for daily operations.
Okay, cool.
One key area is profit distribution.
Okay.
Traditionally, that's, a slow manual process prone to errors.
Yeah, for sure.
But with their DAO, it's all automated.
So those smart contracts come into play again.
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine it's a little bit more than just automatically sending out payments, right?
It is. The smart contract actually contains the rules for profit distribution.
Okay.
So it receives the profit data, often verified by those AI agents we talked about.
Right.
And then it calculates each stakeholder's share based on their token holdings.
Uh-huh.
And then, boom, it distributes those profits using DREX.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
It's fast and it removes so much potential for human error.
Exactly.
What about budgeting, though?
Yeah.
I imagine departments still need funds to operate.
Absolutely. Tech Innovators Ltd. uses smart contracts to manage departmental budgets.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say the marketing team wants to hire a new social media manager.
Okay.
They submit a proposal to the DAO.
Uh-huh.
They outline the cost, the need for the role, the expected return on investment.
And then everyone in the DAO gets to vote on it.
Yep, using their governance tokens.
Doesn't that sound like a recipe for chaos?
Not at all.
Really?
So if the proposal reaches a predefined threshold, like let's say a majority vote,
Okay.
the smart contract will automatically execute that decision,
Gotcha.
allocating the necessary funds from the marketing budget.
That's pretty efficient. But what stops a department from just going on a spending spree if their proposal gets approved?
Right. Well, remember those AI agents we talked about?
Yeah.
They play a key role here, too. They constantly monitor spending patterns across all departments. They flag any inconsistencies or potential overspending to the DAO.
So it's like a built-in financial watchdog.
Exactly.
So it's not just about automating approvals. It's also about having a system of checks and balances to make sure everything's being spent responsibly. That's impressive.
It is.
What about bigger decisions?
Like what?
Like expanding into a new market or developing a new product?
Those decisions follow a pretty similar process.
Okay.
So a stakeholder, maybe someone who's particularly passionate about a specific market opportunity, will submit a proposal outlining the opportunity, the risks, the required investment.
Yeah.
The entire DAO then votes on it using their governance tokens.
It sounds like this system really gives every stakeholder a voice.
It does.
I mean, that's such a huge shift from that traditional top-down approach.
Yeah, it is.
But are there any downsides to this kind of level of transparency and shared control?
There are definitely challenges, and we can explore those a little bit later.
Okay.
But for Tech Innovators Ltd., the benefits are pretty clear.
Like what?
By automating so many processes with smart contracts, they've significantly reduced human error and they've sped up their financial operations.
So things that used to take days or weeks, like paying invoices or distributing profits, can now happen almost instantly.
Exactly.
That's a massive competitive advantage.
Absolutely. And don't forget the transparency inherent in the blockchain. Ensures that everyone has access to the same information about how funds are being used and how decisions are made.
Which in turn, I imagine, builds trust and accountability.
Exactly.
It's fascinating to see how they've managed to combine all these seemingly disparate technologies like blockchain and smart contracts and AI, even DREX, to create this really streamlined and efficient system.
It's really a testament to their innovative approach. But what's even more exciting is that this is just one example. This DAO model has the potential to revolutionize countless industries.
Okay, before we get too carried away, I kind of want to pause here for a second.
Okay.
Let our listener really absorb this example.
Okay.
Think about how Tech Innovators Ltd. Has transformed their operations. And ask yourself what aspect of their DAO implementation really stands out to you the most.
It's hard to pick just one, but the seamless integration of DREX is really noteworthy.
Yeah.
It showcases how a CBDC can be used to facilitate those secure, transparent, and efficient transactions within a DAO.
It definitely adds another layer of innovation to their story.
For sure.
And it makes you wonder if this model works so well for like a tech company.
Right.
Where else could it be applied? What other industries could benefit from DAOs?
Well, the possibilities are pretty vast.
Okay.
Let's start with financial services.
Okay.
Imagine decentralized lending platforms where borrowers and lenders can connect directly, cut out those traditional intermediaries, and potentially reduce fees.
That could be huge for people who struggle to access like traditional loans.
Absolutely. Or consider investment platforms where anyone, regardless of their financial background, could pool resources and make collective investment decisions. This could democratize access to opportunities that are often limited to those institutional investors.
So we're not just talking about efficiency gains here.
All right.
We're talking about creating a more inclusive and equitable financial system.
Exactly.
What about insurance? Could DAOs disrupt that industry?
Certainly imagine a decentralized insurance platform where claims are processed automatically by smart contracts, eliminating all that lengthy paperwork and bureaucratic delays that often plague traditional insurance.
That would be a breath of fresh air for anyone who's ever filed an insurance claim.
It would, and it could lead to more innovative insurance products tailored to the specific needs of communities or individuals.
But DAOs have the potential to go way beyond just finance, right?
They do.
What about retail?
Oh, retail's interesting. Imagine a retail DAO that manages its entire supply chain on a blockchain. This would provide like unparalleled transparency.
How so?
Allowing consumers to track a product's journey from its origin to the shelf.
Wow.
Ensuring ethical sourcing and fair labor practices.
That would be a huge win for consumers who are like increasingly conscious of the environmental and social impact of their purchases?
Absolutely. And it could benefit retailers as well by optimizing their logistics and reducing costs.
Okay, so everyone wins.
But perhaps even more transformative is the potential for DAOs to revolutionize healthcare.
Healthcare is definitely ripe for disruption.
It is.
Where do DAOs fit into that equation?
Well, one of the biggest challenges in healthcare is managing patient data securely and efficiently. Imagine a decentralized system where patients have complete control over their data, granting access to healthcare providers or researchers as needed.
That would really put patients in the driver's seat when it comes to their own health information.
It would, but wouldn't that create, like, more work for patients?
That's a good question.
It might, but it could also streamline the process of sharing medical records. Reducing administrative burdens and ensuring that patients' information is only accessed by, like, authorized individuals.
So no more endless forms and faxes.
Right, exactly. It sounds like a win-win for both patients and healthcare providers.
It does.
And it could even facilitate collaborative research by allowing researchers to securely access anonymized patient data, potentially leading to breakthroughs in medical treatments and personalized medicine.
The potential impact on healthcare is mind-boggling.
It is.
Are there any other sectors where DAOs could make a significant difference?
Oh, the list goes on. Think about technology and innovation, where DAOs could facilitate collaborative project management and community-driven development. Or the energy sector, where DAOs could enable communities to participate directly in energy resource management, promoting sustainability and efficiency.
It seems like DAOs have the potential to touch every aspect of our lives.
They really do.
From how we work and invest to how we receive healthcare and manage our energy resources, it's a truly transformative concept.
It is.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've seen the potential benefits.
Right.
But what about the potential drawbacks?
Well, it's easy to get caught up in all the excitement of, like, this new technology. But we need to be realistic. You know, what are some of the challenges that DAOs might face as they become more, mainstream?
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the biggest hurdles is going to be scalability.
Scalability.
Yeah, like as a DAO grows larger and more complex, managing those decision-making processes and making sure everyone's voice is heard can become really difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Imagine a DAO with thousands or even millions of members.
Right.
Reaching consensus on even like minor decisions could just take forever.
So how do you prevent a DAO from getting bogged down by, like,
Yeah.
endless debates and bureaucracy?
Right, especially when, like, theoretically everyone have a vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a key question, and it's one that DAO developers are actively trying to solve. It might require some pretty innovative governance mechanisms.
Like what?
Well, maybe even integrating AI-powered decision support systems to help streamline the process.
So like using AI to help manage the DAO.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty meta.
It is a little bit.
What about security?
Right.
We've all heard these stories about, blockchain hacks and vulnerabilities.
Of course.
How do DAOs actually protect themselves from those risks?
Well, you're right. Security is absolutely paramount, especially when you're dealing with, like, financial transactions and sensitive information.
Right.
And while blockchain technology itself is generally very secure, smart contracts are still code.
Yeah.
And code can have bugs or vulnerabilities.
So a single, flaw in a smart contract
Could potentially put the whole DAO at risk.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, it's why, rigorous auditing and security testing is so crucial for any DAO.
I imagine especially as they start handling, more and more valuable assets.
Exactly. I think of it like building a bank vault.
Right.
You wouldn't want to, skimp on the security measure.
Makes sense. But even with a super secure vault, you still need laws and regulations.
Right.
To govern how the bank operates.
Of course.
Is the legal landscape even ready for DAOs?
That's another really complex challenge.
Yeah.
Traditional legal frameworks often struggle to keep up with, all these technological advancements. DAOs are definitely no exception.
So we need new laws.
We need clear regulations that address things like liability, dispute resolution, and even just the legal recognition of DAOs as, entities.
Right. So it's not just about building the technology. It's about creating this whole legal environment where DAOs can actually operate safely and effectively.
Yeah.
What about just the human element?
Yeah.
Are people ready to embrace this, radical new way of organizing?
That's a good question. Education and adoption are going to be crucial.
All right.
If we want DAOs to truly flourish, we need to, bridge that knowledge gap.
Right.
People need to understand how these systems actually work, how they can participate.
So it's not just about giving people access to the technology.
All right.
It's also about giving them the knowledge and skills they need to use it.
Exactly.
That's a big task.
It is, but the potential rewards are huge.
Yeah, I agree. As the benefits of DAOs become more apparent,
Like what?
the efficiency, the transparency, the empowerment, I think we're going to see much wider adoption.
Across all sorts of industries.
Yeah. So it's not really a question of if DAOs will change the world.
Right. It's more like how and when.
Exactly. And that's a journey that I, for one, am very excited to be a part of.
Me too.
Who knows what kind of innovations and opportunities await us as this technology continues to evolve.
Absolutely. And to our listener,
Yes.
we encourage you to keep exploring the world of DAOs.
For sure.
Think about how this technology could impact your own industry,
Your own work.
your own life.
The future of organizations is being written in code.
Wow.
The question is, will you be a part of writing that code?
That's a powerful thought to leave everyone with.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of DAOs.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.